Hi, I'm Tim Law, 69 years old, training at Willpower Fitness for 15 years, probably one of the original guys. We started off in a farm down the road here, in half a shed, with a cow looking at me, and then we went to what is now Madman's Cycles next door to us, when it wasn't all finished beautifully like it is now, and then Will managed to get where we are now, which is this amazing, almost purpose-built barn, which is just fantastic. As far as I'm concerned, it's the best gym in the world.
Yeah. So tell me about your journey. So you started 15 years ago.
Yeah.
What made you start training with Will?
Well, actually, John Moore introduced me to Will. When I started to work and live more down in this part of the world, I used to work most of my life in London. He said, you've got basically two choices, and we won't talk about the other choice. And he said, I think you'll be best suited to Will, and he was absolutely right, so I give him great credit for that. John was just starting up his practice down here as well, so I worked with him as well, and he's looked after me along with Will for 15 years.
So obviously you're an athlete, you participate in sports and stuff, so what you do with Will has been quite fundamental to how you are and what you're doing. Tell us a bit about what you do and where your journey is and what your potentially next competitive events might be. Where are you taking yourself?
Okay, well, there's two sides to it as far as I'm concerned. There's the physical side and there's the mental side. Okay, when I first came down here and started working with Will, I was still very much involved in business, quite stressful and that sort of thing. And I felt that if I had a discipline training with Will, or Will training me, sorry, not with Will, it would be helpful, obviously physically, but also mentally. And it was a very good release from the sort of trials and tribulations of what I was doing, as it were, outside the gym. And it just helped me mentally and therefore psychologically and everything else. Physically, what I do is sail a dinghy most of the time, which requires to hike out over the side. Quite difficult to explain, but it's a lot of pressure on your legs and your core and everything else like that. And also I'm too light, need to be heavier, so I need to try and build some muscle in order to be heavier. Not get fat, just be heavier muscle-wise. As you get older, that is more and more difficult, and Will tell you, as at my age at 69, it's very nearly impossible. But at least you can maintain what you do have, or keep it in as good a nick as possible. And it's just try and be healthy. You know, I do sport like you and most people, to be healthy mentally and physically, and he helps me to do that.
So what does Willpower, the gym, mean to you? I know personally it's changed my life. The people that are in here, the training, the mentoring, the camaraderie. You know, you've been here for 15 years, you're 69, you look fitter than most 40-year-old guys that I know. What brings you back? What's going to give you the drive coming to the next 10 years?
Well, I think it's what Will offers, and for me, I've been, probably like most people listening to this, have been tried to keep fit, go to gyms, etc. And you know, some are good and some are not so good, but this one is the best. I mean, Will has connected and understood what I'm trying to achieve on an hourly basis, a daily basis, a weekly basis, monthly, yearly basis, and you know, I keep coming back. I do 3 times a week, the same time if I'm in town, which is most of the time, and I can't miss it. If I miss it, I don't feel good physically or mentally. But he understands me, he knows me, and I see it with every person that comes into this gym. He obviously, you know, does an orientation, induction, and everything else, but it's more than that. He has a wonderful way of reading the customer, as it were, and understanding the athlete or the person that's in front of him, and playing to their strengths and making them get better and also come back. Because I know so many people, probably like people listening to this, who have this great ambition to get fit, go off, say, right, I'm going to join a gym. And they tell you, I've joined a gym. And you go, well done. Have you been there yet? Are you going to go back? Are you going to keep going? And you need to set little goals. And we have little goals within our program that he sets me. They change a little bit and everything else, but the primary aim is to be able to sail the boat that I want to sail as best as I can. I've just been training in Barcelona, sail training off Barcelona, in lots of wind against much younger people than me, and I'm still standing. I got back in the middle of the night and I'm okay.
So if you had to tell a story to people, there's so many people out there, and I encounter them, you know, oh, I used to do this, I used to be fit, you know, they're in their sort of 50s and stuff, and they're starting to look a little bit couch potato-y. What would you say to them, what is important and what they need to be thinking about doing now?
Well, I think joining here for a start. I mean, join the group sessions and something, and it would be, if I was younger, I'd definitely be doing that, because I feel like at my age, it's probably better that I do it with Will, but it doesn't mean you can't join in. I have joined in and everything else, but I prefer to do it with Will. And I would say, decide what you want to do, what you want to achieve, make a plan with Will, whether it's in the group classes or on a physical training private basis, and commit to it, do it. Say, right, I'm going to come this day and this day, or I'm going to do 2 days a week. I think 2 days is what you need to do as a minimum. I would be doing more if I was younger.
Yeah.
I mean, I find if I do 2 consecutive days, that's not good. And then you stop training properly. That's what I would say. I would say commit to it, join it, and then you enjoy it. And what you know better than me is that if you join the group sessions, it's a great community.
100%.
And you know, you feed off other people's enthusiasm. Everybody helps everybody. I see it. I'll come in and watch it. I'm envious of it, actually. But I don't want to slow the other guys down.
You wouldn't slow everybody down. The important thing is, I find is, and my message the same as yours is, you get a chance to be strong now in your 50s, as Will calls it, the dead zone. Get your asses in the gym, get yourself fit and strong so you can still walk in your 70s, your 80s and your 90s. You know, you've really got to be working on some strength. That's
right. And there are people that come here that are older than me who have maintained their lifestyle happiness because they've come in here and do stuff with Will that suits them. It doesn't have to be heavy weightlifting or anything like that. It doesn't have to be running and jumping or anything. It can be stretching. It can be, you know, just doing single leg work, single arm work, all of which, by the way, is something you don't normally do in a gym. You know, very much focusing on each side of your body rather than the compound weight stuff, which you can do as well. For example, I had a stroke 5 years ago, not because of coming into the gym, because of life. I'm fine now. I didn't have any of the risk factors and everything else. It came out of the blue. But afterwards, my left side was very weak, and it's still weak, but it's nothing like it would be had I not come into this gym. Will got me back, as it were, on the horse within inside a year, and got me strong.
So it's just go through it. That's So those squat and row, that full range. We're just looking for controlled full range movements, like you're doing there, over the 10 exercises. Welcome to Willpower Fitness. I am the owner of this gym and been working with Tim for the last 15 years. He's one of my oldest PTs that I've had over my career, and we met long time ago in a previous gym or as a PT, and immediately sort of found his body was in really good shape but had various ailments through it in his early 50s, mainly due to desk work and sedentary sort of office-based work. He was an elite level sailor, so national, European and world-class sailor. So it was a great opportunity for me to get involved with his PT, his personal training and his strength and conditioning, and see where we could go from it, from those early stages. And the big thing that's promoted in this gym is, especially with Tim's age, going through from 50 all the way up to 70 that he's nearly now, is how do we keep the body in good shape, but also for longevity? How do we maintain joint stability, strength of muscle, mobility, all the standard routines, with exercises that promote functional strength, but also Tim's sport specific as well. So we would do quite unusual exercises to look at Tim's body in his relation to his sport, which you'll see and cover today in this S&C class. But it's been great working with him. And we always say sort of the Benjamin Button effect. Can we produce the body? The aging process is always going to happen to all of us. but can we negate that with these type of movements and build longevity and health of life and well-being.
And if you had a story to talk to people, and obviously I'm one of your 50 plus gang, there's a message that needs to go out. People are missing the point that they're reaching the stage where they're sat on the sofa and they're 50 and they're starting to struggle with aches and pains.
Yeah.
There's a big story out there to be talked about.
Yeah, 100%. And the big thing is our methodology, what we cover in here, is totally scalable to any level and any age. So you'll see Tim going through quite advanced movements today, but I could scale those movements to anyone with ankle, knee, hip, lower back issues to produce a fundamental broad outlook to create their fitness journey and improve on their life and well-being. And the big message we're seeing from even 40 plus now in here is how can I produce longevity of my life with functional movements that are going to be guaranteeing me healthy habitual living outside of the gym. And that's a big demographic in this gym, and it's a big purpose for us to promote that and and get everyone in here working together as a community as well. So no, it's good.
How about that? Bring it on back.
The banter, fit and healthy, and improve your longevity. You're telling me you can't take a sandwich off the flip.
How about that?
Is actually a lot longer than most. Just because of the movements he's covering, he needs to be really warmed up. So a single leg T raise, this is called, stability in ankle, knee and hip, and activating upper back and thoracic. So Tim's working through half squat, power position with the legs, full extension for 15 repetitions of that single arm band press. So again, activating the upper body pushing muscles and core engagement. Oh no. So deficit RDLs with dumbbells. So it's a posterior chain dominant exercise this. It's mobilizing Tim's hamstring, glutes, lower back, and also creating full hip extension with that high pull for upper body activation as well. So full body activation, producing mobility and that neural pathway as well. Okay, so Tim's on a 8 rep set of a trap bar deadlift. We cover a lot of these to develop Tim's lower body hip extension power and strength. Also the trap bar will negate any risk in his lower back. Also a good opportunity to produce high loading with that safeguarded exercise. 90 kgs Tim had on that trap bar there for 8 reps. Going into a single arm dumbbell press. So again, because of Tim's sport is so specific and offset on his core, we do a lot of single arm work to strengthen and stabilize the body and keep it symmetrical. Also, Tim does have a bit of asymmetry, so his left side is generally weaker than his right. So we'll tend to do a lot more single arm loaded work than conventional barbell work to negate that. So that action of the press, again, he's engaging his core, his opposite obliques, so stabilizing the movement, generating force through his pec, tricep, deltoid for 12 reps on each arm. Tim's using a 15 kilo there, dumbbell. Good, so you'll note that Tim's just going through one exercise to the other with minimal recovery. Big compound movement this, so again, Tim's upper body pull is really important for his sport. Classic sort of sled rope pull, developing power in the upper body pulling muscles. Also, the core and lower back are getting stabilized through anti-rotation and an activation in those groups there. You'll see as well, so at the end of this set, the heart rate's going to be generated, and this rope pull again increases heart respiratory rate and the conditioning of an athlete. But specific to Tim's sport, because there is so much pull, with the ropes on the sails. 2. So again, guys, another staple exercise for Tim, because the loading in his hips in his sport is high. We cover a box squat on a back rack position. This is promoting lower body strength and power, and core and midline strength. Again, Tim tends to work in rep ranges of anywhere between 6 and 12 reps. He's on his final set here, 80 kgs, which is just around the body weight mark for those 8 repetitions on the final set. But again, a key exercise for Tim's promotion of lower body strength, lower back and core. So this next exercise, Tim's come off that box squat and now going into a kettlebell balance passover. So again, you can see Tim's trying to fight that balanced position on his hips, working his midline, anti-rotation exercise again, and there's upper body working through that 10 kg kettlebell. This is specific for Tim because he's in this position on the boat hiking. So we're developing and strengthening the body in those muscle groups specific to his sport. 20 repetitions, so quite high in volume. And you'll see Tim here struggling to keep that balance on the hips and maintain that form of passover with the coordination. So this last exercise in Tim's cycle here, classic GHD weighted sit-up. Again, very sport specific in Tim's sailing position. So hiking off the side of the boat requires huge amounts of core strength in this action. Developing that lower back core strength with a 4 kilo weighted ball. An advanced exercise this, Tim does a lot of volume on his core to produce that strength and conditioning on his midline. So arms straight, and then that's it, and then jog with it, yeah, that's it. It's good. And then push press overhead. So there, and then dip and drive through. That's it, 8 repetitions. Good, okay. So again, 1, good, 2, it's good, 1 more. Okay, so again, Tim's on a straight arm sled push with high tempo leg drive on this. Tough movement, developing that lower body conditioning, also shoots the heart rate up, breathing rate up to develop that anaerobic power and endurance on the body. Tim throughout his week will cover at least maybe 16 to 20 lengths on a sled on both pull and push to develop that lower body cardio endurance there. So this next exercise is a dumbbell hang clean and press. So again, a full body exercise, producing power through the hips into that upper body overhead strengthener. So Tim's covering 10 repetitions on this exercise. It's good. Okay, so the last exercise in this circuit, again, Tim needs high body weight pulling mechanisms on the body. So a classic overhand grip pull up will promote huge amounts of strength in his lats and upper body. Bicep forearm grip strength pull, again related to his sport when he's hiking over the side of the boat. So that's the third exercise of those 3 movement patterns. Tim's covering 3 sets with a minute recovery, enabling that conditioning to be increased.